this is my presentation on the Chapter 1 case studies. So this chapter case, I thought, was basically just examining the definition of what information systems are and how those systems are advancing our modern business practices. And the textbook also does a pretty good job of outlining how they're going to be viewing information systems and discussing them throughout the text. So the first question was, how are information systems transforming business, and why are they so essential for running and managing a business today? What I took away from this is that businesses are incorporating more and more of these modern technologies in order to see success across all areas of their operation. Basically, if you have modern technologies being used in society, that can directly translate to modern business practices if those technologies are being utilized. And these technologies are leading to things like new business models, the expansion of e-commerce, changes in how management is run, and changes in how the firms and organizations run. So as far as new business models go, we're seeing these businesses that are formed around using a technology that is new and upcoming. So the example given in the text would be Netflix is really utilizing video streaming. And nowadays it's extremely easy to no longer have a cable provider and just use these streaming subscriptions instead. I think Google is another company that really shows how utilizing new technological development can expand their business model and really progress it. I see that with how they're using AI. We know that AI is being developed, and it has been being developed for a while, and there's controversy over how developed it is, but we know that Google is one of the leading companies in taking steps into that. Amazon would be another one, and Microsoft. But we see that AI interaction, as far as business goes, is not that far distant, especially when you have services that Google provides that are so advanced that they're almost unbelievable. Like the newest system they just came out with that will call and make reservations for you, and the voice that your phone uses to do that is almost indistinguishable from a human voice. I think Google is really tapping into this advanced artificial intelligence market that's helping their business model expand. And the next topic would be e-commerce expanding, and we see that a lot. The figure that they threw out in the textbook was in 2016, we generated over $600 billion in revenue over e-commerce, just spending on the internet. And we're projected to spend over $900 billion by 2020. And it's because the textbook claims it's because of this new model of selling services online rather than just tangible things. Now you can spend money on the internet and get no tangible object, but you get a service that, for example, Facebook or even Google or those companies are providing you. And that really opens up a whole new revenue for e-commerce. As far as management changes are concerned, the quote that I really liked from the text is, "Business is going mobile along with customers." And I really thought that was a key point. Like, you're going to see that your customers are engaging in extremely fast communications with each other. I mean, in an instant, they can write a review to a friend about your company, and that lightning speed of communication also has to be utilized by businesses. We have to understand that we're no longer living in a world where there should be a reason why a manager doesn't know what's going on outside of the workplace. With the examples they were giving with like a traveling salesman, there's no reason that there should be a delayed update into how that salesman is doing and his or her performance with the company. All of that should be immediately reported back to the manager in order for them to truly know how the company is operating. And with changes in firms and organizations, we're seeing that there's less emphasis on company structure and hierarchy, and there's a lot more emphasis on employee collaboration across the table. So what companies are looking for more nowadays is an employee that can do multiple tasks and can handle multiple different tasks, have multiple different skills, but also works really well with other people in a team to get these projects done. So for that reason, I think there's a much higher concentration on the competency and the skill of these individual salesmen rather than their political hierarchy in the company. So the second question asks, what is an information system? How does it work? What are its management, organization, and technology components? And why are complementary assets essential for ensuring that information systems provide genuine value for organizations? So the textbook defines an information system as a set of interrelated components that collect or retrieve, process, store, and distribute information to support decision making and control in an organization. So what I took away from this was that it doesn't necessarily have to be technology, but it's more a system and a mindset of organizing all the information that you can about a business in order to pick out the best pieces of information and use that information to plan ahead into the future, using your past statistics and analyses to project future oncomings in your business. So the textbook lists 3 functions that are needed in order for an information system to operate, and those are information input, processing, and information output. And once you have those results, they're then given feedback by the people that are running the organization in order to refine how it works and determine if this information system is successful in helping their business grow. As far as the different components, the management components basically act to solve problems and situations presented to the firm and serves to aid in making decisions about these projects. And I think a big function of that is actually being designed to allocate different resources to those projects. Let that be funds, like the management system would help determine how much money to put towards a new project versus how much money to give to an existing project, or even people, like what salespeople should we send here, how was their performance last time, how did this client react to our sales approach last time. All of that I think would go into management components and how that information is used to further the management organization. I think the organizational components are how is the company using these technologies and information systems to put out a very positive image for themselves. How is it integrated into their organization? The example given here was UPS fast shipping, how you can pretty much guarantee that a package from UPS is going to be delivered on time, undamaged. And I think that the success from that really comes from their strong ties to organization in this information system that they have. They really want to make sure that every piece of information on their customers, where they're shipping to, what routes to take, is all being put towards a positive outward experience. I think the same thing could be said for Amazon and their introduction of same-day shipping. So now not only do we have guaranteed delivery, but we also have this incredible new world of ordering something and having it delivered to your doorstep in the same day. I think that this can only be chalked up to Amazon's amazing technological resources and also their organizational components and their information systems, how they're using their mass amounts of information to benefit all of their consumers. As far as the technology components, we're seeing that these managers of these companies are really using technology to help facilitate change and help move their company in new directions. And I think this would help with areas such as employee turnover or doing research into new projects. But basically, this is what the managers are using the technology for in order to keep their company running smooth and adapting. Um, so some of the things that they listed that are key in these technological components are going to be computer hardware and software, managing data, and networking, such as knowing how to use the internet and social media and telecommunications. All of these are going to be innovations that help your business adapt to change quickly and also keep them relevant and move forward. And a big focus of this, I think, is that managers build these information systems in order to ensure that the information being brought into the company is relevant and beneficial. So you don't want to throw out a huge net. You only want to throw out a net that is going to give you the optimal amount of information that you need with the most relevance to what you're using it for. And I think in order to do that, it's crucial for them to understand these different levels and dimensions of information systems so that they can implement the best ones for the company's needs. The third question asks, what academic disciplines are used to study information systems, and how does each contribute to an understanding of information systems? So the textbook lists 3 different approaches to studying information systems, and these are the technical approach, the behavioral approach, and the socio-technical systems approach, which is the one that the textbook uses. The technical approach is basically using math-based models to understand information brought into the company. And I think this is more of a factual analysis than anything else, statistical analysis. And this approach would be used in areas such as computer science, management science, and operations research. So again, I think this is mainly hard facts information that the company needs. So this would be aiding them in statistics about consumption or production costs or anything that's going to be studying their operations as a company. The behavioral approach handles behavioral issues that arise in the long-term maintenance of information systems. So these can't be measured as well with a hard fact statistical numbers analysis that the technical approach goes for. This more focuses on subjective decisions, and some of the examples they list would be the design of your business, the attitude towards different other businesses and consumers, what that business's policies might be, etc. And these approaches are used more in studying the sociology, the economics, and the psychology, all of which are also extremely important for a business to understand about their consumers and their employees and management. So the approach proposed by the textbook is the socio-technical systems approach, and they define that as optimal organizational performance is achieved by jointly optimizing both the social and technical systems used in production. So pretty much these guys are arguing we need an equal balance of attention to the technical and the behavioral sides of an organization. And by doing that, we'll really have a full understanding of our business rather than just a little bit pieced together from understanding hard numbers or understanding the people of the business. It's really important to understand both and to come up with some sort of system that can measure both. So for my discussion questions related to these topics, I have my first one is, how have you seen technologies change a business through organization? And my second one is, how far do you expect development into information technology to go? So in response to the first question, my own personal anecdote with this is I remember when I was working at a burger restaurant in my hometown, Greensboro, and when I first got there, the cash register system was horrible. It could take up to 5 minutes sometimes to print somebody's ticket, and in a small restaurant, when you just order at the register and go sit down, that's a long time. And it was really inefficient. We had misprints all the time. It would get jammed. I mean, it was old as dirt. It took a long time to enter in orders. It was honestly the weakest part of our restaurant, I think. And And then finally, one day, my manager, who would later become the owner of the restaurant, decided, all right, it's time that we update this. And he bought the Square system that Apple provides, which comes with it came with an iPad, an iPad stand, a new register, a new receipt printer. And this was just a totally new experience for me seeing that. I was one of the people that helped customize the Square to have all of our menu items, so we got to put the burgers on there, and on all the toppings were already programmed in that burger had, and then there were customization availabilities for people to take stuff off or add stuff on. So all of this was really beneficial to just helping the restaurant run and helping it serve customers. It was a heavy investment, but it increased customer satisfaction and efficiency by a ridiculous amount. So as far as question 2, I don't think this technology will ever cease to grow. I think it's going to keep growing to areas that we can't even imagine right now. It already is in areas that we can't imagine right now, and areas that we don't know about right now. There's so much technology that companies and the government in a lot of cases are using to keep tabs on us and to study that we don't even know about, and it's just growing more and more. And especially to mention earlier, AI technology, with the introduction of that system of analysis, I think that it's never going to stop growing, and that it's only going to become more and more advanced. And the only thing we can do is try to make an effort to keep the advancement positive instead of oppressive. We don't want companies oppressing our rights in order to get marketing information out of us. We want to live. The only thing we can hope for is to live harmoniously with that technology. So in conclusion, I think that these technologies are pushing businesses forward. I think that there's no room anymore for businesses that don't want to adapt to these technologies. I think that you don't really have a choice. In some ways, you literally legally don't have a choice. You have to uphold certain regulations and practices in order to simply operate your business. There's a lot of room for growth in businesses still and using these technologies. And I think the best way to utilize that growth is to educate ourselves in these technologies and I really understand their collective potential, as the textbook mentions we need to be doing, in order to use it to push ourselves forwards rather than sink businesses that may have a harder time adapting. So that's the end of my Chapter 1 case study, and I hope you enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Bye-bye.